We have to go to the East Dunham Cemetery to find the remains of one of Ebenezer Gleason Sr.'s sons. This is the only immediate family member of Ebenezer Sr. that is buried along Cognac Street. We know Ebenezer Jr. was buried in Illinois, and other sons are buried in Cowansville and in other local cemeteries. But in this cemetery on Cognac Street, we can find Horace Gleason and his partner in crime, his wife. Like his father, we know very little about Horace's personal life. He was born in 1811 and died in 1892, and he's buried with his wife, Mary Perkins. Horace Gleason made the history books a little more interesting during the Great Raid of Cognac Street in 1833. Horace was 22 years old at the time, and according to court records, he passed Mary Perkins a roll of counterfeit money he had in his pocket over to her. We can just imagine the scene, the constables coming through the door, and he's throwing a bill of money over to Mary. She plunged the money into a deep bowl of applesauce she was making in the kitchen. She wasn't quick enough, though, because the constables saw her. So that roll of cash, along with all the other counterfeit bills and money-making tools, were confiscated from the home. So the story is funny, but it also indicates that the women of the family were very much involved in the trade. They tended to help in subtle ways, by hiding money for their men, but also by transporting money across the border on their person, and some of them were even engravers. The counterfeiting criminals developed their own language. They had slang terms for their profession and their stock in trade that may seem puzzling to us today. No one, for example, still calls a counterfeiter a cognacer, yet the term was once so popular that it was included in an 1859 compendium of slang called The Secret Language of Crime. Dealers who visited Cognac Street purchased notes in a variety of ways. In some cases, the purchaser would select from a stock that the dealer would have on hand. Seneca Page, the co-owner of the Canadian Counterfeiting Company, sold his stock from behind his store in Dunham. Page apparently provided special containers for carrying notes in mahogany dressing cases with hidden compartments. Other purchasers dealt directly with the Gleason gang boys, like Horace, up on Cognac Street. Payment for the bills was taken based on current rates, such as $10 genuine dollars for every $100 bogus, or in payments of goods, such as watches and jewelry. And stolen horses became the most common currency. Horses were portable and served to move the currency as well. The Gleason gang also operated a horse thieving ring, so Cognac Street was not only the center of counterfeiting, but also the center of horse theft. To counteract the rise of this activity, the communities formed horse thieving societies to track down, or at the very least, find their horses. You have to smile when you stand at the gravestone of Mr. and Mrs. Horace Gleason. His name appears in the census records as a farmer, and again in 1859. Then he was baptized in the Dunham Anglican Church, so perhaps he had a change in his ways. He never appears again in the records in an illegal way, so perhaps he gave up his counterfeiting and horse thieving activities. But only these two Cognacers know. Isn't that right, Horace and Mary? Slap test, slap test, slap test, slap test.
You're a weirdo. Why'd you do it 4 or 5 times?
I'm waiting for the signal to go. Okay. We have to go to the East Dunham Union Cemetery to find the remains of one of Ebenezer. Nope. Okay. We have to go to the East Dunham
Cemetery.
We have to go to the East Dunham Cemetery.